Hey, everybody out there. Welcome back to the Kick It Music Channel. If you're new here, my name is James McDonald, and many of you know me as Kick It. I'm a songwriter, producer, and all-around music enthusiast who just loves creating music from the ground up. Today's session is a special one because I'm taking you behind the scenes of my latest track called Uncle Frank. It's the fourth song off my debut album, Kick It One. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through exactly how I created the song, step by step, instrument by instrument, so you can see and hear the entire process unfold. So I'm going to take you from the very first chord progression that sparked the idea to the bass line that gave it the groove and to the final touches that made the production what it is. So why am I sharing this? For years, everyone's asked, they said, hey, how do you put all this music together? You know, and I truly believe that music is just more than just quote unquote music. It's a journey. It's, you know, every beat, every melody, every layer, it gives you an inside look to how you bring the manifestations of your life together and bring it out. So, because that's what it's all about. It's all about what we see, what we hear, what we experience. That all culminates into our music, and therefore the song is written. The song is brought to life based on that thing. So this live session, it's going to be powerful because I've just went through this just recently, instrument by instrument, and it was just so fun. The whole collective of all these instruments that went into this silly song called Uncle Frank. So listen, if you're anyone in the industry, if you're a record label, executive producer, musician out there, just looking for some inspiration, you've landed in the right spot. You've landed on the right channel. So who knows? You know, maybe this silly track could maybe spark your next big idea. So if you have a few minutes, grab your headphones and let's dive on in to the creation of Uncle Frank. So let's go ahead, and we're looking at about 36 tracks on this. And all these tracks, you know, there's little composite tracks here and there. You know, I've went through this song and I said, ooh, maybe we need a little bit more of this, or maybe we need an additional vocal here, or so on and so forth. So, you know, I'll sit and I'll listen and then leave the song alone for a day or so. And then I'll come back to it for a little while, another hour or two session, leave it alone for another day or so until I simply cannot find anything else I can add to it. Once that is established, then becomes all the editing and in arranging, you know, where the instrument's going. You know, am I going to move the drums 56% in the left speaker and the bass and the 70% in the right speaker, so on and so forth. So it's interesting once you start moving these instruments around how the song can really begin to be full and rich. And, you know, I've said it before, a lot of instruments that I use, I will take and I will move one instrument from the left channel or right channel just over slightly to the right, maybe a half second, or even just a fraction of a second, just to give it, because what it's going to do is it's going to make it a little bit more beefy. So basically, say you're playing a guitar riff and you've got the left and right channel going. Instead of doubling that, basically recording it again and doubling over the top of it, what you're going to do is you're going to take that instrument from the left and right here. And I don't know if I did this on this track. They're all lining up, so it means I didn't move them around. But sometimes you can just move that instrument just ever so slightly, even vocals, and you're going to get a lot more depth in the vocals. So again, this song, it just started off as a silly spoof, and then it just kind of grew wings, and it became this kind of little anthem for this man. He's a bum called Uncle Frank who tries everything in his power to get you in trouble, whether it be talking you into causing mischief around the neighborhood, or taking something that you shouldn't be taking to give you a trip, taking you somewhere you didn't think you were ever going to go, but he ended up taking you there anyhow. So Uncle Frank. And so let's start off. Usually when I start off with any track, it always starts off with drums. I'm sitting there with a microphone that I'm going to be singing or speaking through or whatnot. So I'm usually a bump, bump, bump. Usually a 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. You know, hey, how you doing? Da, 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 da. And I'm like, this is silly. This is silly. What am I doing here? So I'm like, you know what? Don't inhibit yourself. Just go with it. So I'm sitting on the drums. So here's just the drum track. So, and I think the drums were on a take 4. So it took me 4 times to get these right. So, and again, you know, when I spread these things out, I can see there might be a little blip here and there. You know, again, the reason, you know, you probably could just even loop a track like this, but looping that, it doesn't give you that, you know, that all the motion that's you're involving with your drums, and your vocals going at the same time. You're getting the wheels turning rather than just looking at a loop like bump cha, bump cha, bump cha. Do you know what I'm saying? So again, I have nothing against loops, but again, this particular track, even though the drums are very simple, I still wanted to sit on the drum set and kind of articulate my way through it. That's the architecture. I think that's very important. Laying that foundation is getting on an instrument of your choice, whether it's a guitar or a piano. And some people say, oh, I don't even play anything. Well, you don't have to play anything to create music. You can do loops and you can bring them together. I mean, that's a great idea. So with this all particular track, these were all instruments that I played. So let's start off with the drum set. So on Uncle Frank. And very simple. Very simple. So here we go. I just want to make sure they're coming through. Yeah, pretty simple. Again, nothing over the top. This is on the Roland TDX. So you must have heard this song because I must have played it through Instagram 1,000 times or on YouTube. So you're like, what is this? What is this stuff? This doesn't sound like it. There's me getting ready for the next bit. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Okay, so we got the drums. Now let's go back and let's add the bass in. And again, very funky. I use a Fender bass. This is from the bass guitar. So we line this up. And again, these first bits are going to sound silly. You're going to like, how the heck did you put a song out of this? You'll see. You'll see. So I've said it before. Drums and bass are everything. You get the drums and bass right, everything else is going to fall into place. And whatever bass line you come up with, again, your next thought is if you're going to arrange this song musically, I've said this before, think of everything in threes. If you're going to be layering a piano, layering a guitar, or laying any other background instruments, think in threes. So when I say threes, I mean whatever key you're in, we could just start off with 1, and we could call the next note 4 or 5, because usually that's a progression. You know, if you start off with a C, 1, C, D, E, F, G. Usually C and F and G go together, so it's 1, 4, 5. 1, 4, 5. Okay? All right. So if you're in the A would be, again, start off with 1, 1, 4, 5. Because A and E and D usually go well together. A and C doesn't go so well together. So it wouldn't be 1 and 3. So it'd be 1, 4, 5. And so then from there, you might say, okay, let's keep this real simple. Let's go 145 through the verses, and then let's go 154 through the chorus. Okay? So once you have the progression down, if you're just thinking about the 3-chord progression, then your instruments, how you're layering those, the same thing. Let's start off. Let's say it's an A. Bum, 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 bum. 1, 3, da, 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 da. Bass line, rhythm guitar, whatever else instrument you're going to put together. You see, just kind of hum that out. So, and you can do that with every song, because that's really how songs are put together. They're layered usually in threes. Bum, 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 bum. I might not have gotten it right, but you kind of get where I'm going with this. So again, here's the bass line, really silly bass line. And you're like, what is this? And, you know, I played it back. I don't think I've just played back the drums and the bass in a while. And I'm sitting there thinking, what the heck was I doing? But here we go. So here's the drums. Here are the drums and the bass for Uncle Frank. In the beginning, the first, I think we're going to do 15 seconds. Sounds like a circus act. You know, you now. So here I am, right? Let's just roll this back and let's say this is the beginning. I don't even know what's going on here. So I would say, okay, the guitar bit needs to go in, right? Bum, 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 right? Bum, 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 bum. Piano. Do 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 do. Guitar. Bop 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 bop. Right? Do 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 do. Now that's not the song, but I'm just saying, again, roll it back and say, oh, right? Or let's do something different. Let's see. Okay, so let's see. You get the guitar. Wow. You know, you can even scat your way through the song. So you see, again, I just added a wholly together different melody on it. Whatever comes, just go with it. Don't beat yourself. Oh, that sounds a little weird. No, just go with it, because it's going to evolve into something nice. You know, that guitar that you're scatting through could become your vocal line for the track, right? You could just omit the guitar and say, oh, that sounds great for the vocal track. So boom. Okay. So again, layer it out, get your drums and your bass down. And then again, start kind of articulating it, you know, these 145s and 154s, if they're in a 3-chord progression, no matter again, what chord you're starting off with, treat it as if it's a 1. Okay. Because those progressions, 145 and 154 go together always. Again, so let's just say D. The chord is D, right? So we have D, E, 3, F, G, okay, and A. D to a G to an A. D to a G to an A, right? 2 measures. Dun 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 dun. Measure 1 is over. Measure 2. Dun 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 dun. D to a G to an A. Now you get to your chorus, and then you maybe reverse it. Dun 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 dun, and then dun 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 dun. So 1 5 4 instead of 1 4 5. You follow me there? That's again structuring your song so it doesn't get crazy and out of hand. At least you know, you're like, okay, I'm kind of playing by the rules a little bit here, you know? So again, so here we go. We got the drums, we got the bass. Now let's get into the silly stuff. So I was kind of tinkering around, like, what do I do? So I'm like, so the synthesizer that I use, it's a Roland Juno DS. It's nothing really fancy, but again, it's a very well-equipped synthesizer. It's got maybe 3,000 songs on it. So it's a great overall synthesizer. So I said, okay. So I said, let me get into organs. And I'm like, I don't do many organs, but I said, maybe this will work. So this is a Wurlitzer organ bit. So here we got the drums, the bass, and the Wurlitzer, okay? So again, it sounds like carnival music. Now again, this wasn't even meant to go on the Kick It album. This was just supposed to be a funny bit I might sell as like a I'm just watching here. I mean, it could have been a jingle. Still could be a jingle. So, we have the drums, we have the bass, we have the Wurlitzer organ. Now, this is where it's going to start getting a little interesting. Down here, I said, it's very, very plain. So I said, let's add something. So I picked up the guitar and I just went, and I put some fuzz on it. So there's a fuzz guitar. So now we have the bass line, we got the drums, and we got the fuzz guitar. Okay? And this is just the intro. Again, the fuzz guitar. Now, what I did for that second fuzz guitar is I wanted it was sounding just a little too plain. So what I did was I took it down a whole octave. Instead of wow, wow. So I took that second bit, wow, down. So again, let's listen to it without it and then with it. Here we go. Again, very plain, right? Now, once we add the fuzz, gave us a little more, right? And I said, okay, that's good. But I said, I need something a little silly, you know, like a background, something silly. So just a second, I got to take a drink of this. All right. So I said, I need something silly. So I said, okay, let's go back to synthesizer and let's find some like silly ambience or something like that. So I found this thing. It's called Looney Flutes. And so here's without it and here's with it. Now with it. Hear those? That's them. Let me actually mute that so you can hear it a little bit better. It sounds like somebody's screaming, like bellowing out like some high-pitched noise. So I don't know. It was silly. It worked. And it just added a little flavor to the song. And you know what's funny? Right about now, I'm probably going to get a copyright thing from YouTube, which I'll have to go back to the distributor and release again. They always do that to me. So, you know, again, it's for your own protection. But the system's going to say, oh, that's Uncle Frank. Let's make sure we send him an email. That's a copyright. That's copyrighted. Oh, let's see. It belongs to Kick It. Kick It wrote it, but it doesn't matter. So anyway, I got to do these on every one of these videos. I got to send, once it's uploaded, up comes the old copyright, and I'm like, okay, it's my stuff. It's copyrighted, so I have to go back to the distributor and release the copyright claim. It's very frustrating, and I know a lot of you out there probably dealt with this too. So, but anyways, here we go. So now we have the bass, we got the drums, we got the Wurlitzer organ, and we have the fuzz guitar, and then the little loony flutes in the beginning. So let's move on through the track. Again, very simple. Here, this is, pardon me, this here is grayed out. We're going to get into that here in a second. It's the Hammond organ and the Ice Palace piano bit and the octave guitar. It's all going to come in at the same point. They're those loony flutes. It's crazy. All right. So now we're going to add in the Hammond organ on, I think we're in the second measure. Okay, so here's without. Now, here comes the Hammond organ. We're going to add that in there. It's a little bit of a delay on it. So now we have 2 sets of organs. And what we're also going to do with those 2 sets of organs is we're going to also add in a piano here, which is called the Icy Palace piano. And here's that. Again, it sounds so silly, but it just works when you put everything together. Here's that ding, dong, that piano, ding, dong, ding, dong. Now, before we get into it, we have a little female background vocal that was added in here. And here's that is. So that was added right just below my voice, just ever so slightly. I need a little bit of a female vocal in there. So, and I made a phone call and they said, don't say who it was. So I said, okay, that's fine. So anyway, it was female vocal. Now, let's get to this bit again. And then we're going to add in yet another instrument. And then we're going to break them all down. Now we're going to add in the octave guitar. And again, at this point, I said, this is still sounding pretty plain. So I said, I need something. So what I did was I added another organ in here. And what I'm going to do is mute these so you can hear this particular organ, and then we'll bring them all back. And I have no idea where that's coming from. Yeah, see? I have no idea where that came from. So you can hear. I guess I didn't remove that bit. Here's that fairy organ. Is it Frere Jacka? London Bridge is falling down? It's almost like that melody line. Dun, dun, dun. Let me stretch this thing out so I can kind of hear it a little bit. A lot of experimentation. Let's hear this. Yeah, it's like London Bridge falling down. I have no idea what I was thinking when I wrote this. Or when I was playing it. There's like a little... You hear that? I don't know where that came in. There's the... Yeah, see there? I think I was going to fade that. I should have faded this bit out a little bit more. Now, you see what we got here? We have... Let me stop this right now. So, that interesting simplified Uncle Frank began to get a little bit more elaborate. We have a female vocal that opened it up into the music break. I would say this is more of a solo, but it's not a solo with a lead instrument. It's a solo with, and I'll get to that part next. So we've got a Hammond organ. We got the Icy Palace piano bits. We have the octave guitar. And we have the fairy organ, and we have the fuzz guitar, and we have the funk guitar, and then we have the gnome organ, and then we have the 60s organ. Did I even get into this? Let me see. Let's see what this is. Let's see. Oh my gosh. Okay. There's a lot going on in this bit. Let's get rid of that fairy organ, okay? Because this is one of the coolest parts of this track, which I just love. So what you're hearing right now is just the drums and the bass. But let's kill everything. Let's get down to just the bass. This is what, you call like the little fatherly proud moment of your song, because I was able to mix all these little instruments in and get this beautiful little wicked riffy bit for the solo. So again, here are the drums. Here's the bass. Okay, very simple. 3, 4, 1, 2. Very simple, right? Okay. Now let's add in the 60s, the 60s organ A, and again, that's from the synthesizer. Okay. So here we go. Let's add in the 60s organ. Here we go. So it's 2 fingers on this one. I remember. And I was just doing a 1 and a 3. Again, I was having fun. I didn't know where this was going. Now, let's add in the gnome organ. Yes, the gnome organ. Here we go. Here, well, hear it? And then we add in. Let's kill off everything. Let's just listen to that organ bit. That's just the one bit. So now let's add in the 60s organ. Pretty cool, isn't it? It's almost mesmerizing. Now we're going to add in the funk guitar. Again, on my guitar. That's how music's put together, guys. It's just these little bits here and there, and you find something that works. In this case, this was like a home run for me. Now, it's not over with yet. We got the fuzz organ, and now... So again, if you're just joining us, we have... In Uncle Frank, we've got... In the solo, we have the 60s organ, a gnome organ, funk guitar, bass, and an extra funk guitar. And then we've got a fairy organ. So now let's add the fairy organ in there. Now let's listen to it all together. And it's not over with yet. We've got the piano bits and we've got the extra Hammond going on top of it all. Here we go. And this is where... And let's put the Hammond organ in there, too. So there's literally 16 tracks going on here right now. And if I take out one, I promise you, you'll hear it. It just won't have that richness to it. You got to sometimes keep going and just keep layering in these instruments until you say, I don't like it anymore. So, believe it or not, I said to myself, even with that crazy bit, I said, it's still missing something. So let's put it all together. And now we're guaranteed to get the old copyright claim from YouTube, which I'll be dealing with after the live session. I'll be submitting that, hey, guys, this is my track. Let's listen to it, and then we're going to add in the special little background bits. Okay, here we go. We're going to add it in now. The baila, 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 baila. I don't know what he's saying, but I found this in some loop collection. He's saying baila, 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 baila. So I don't know. I apologize if I don't know what it could be Spanish, but he's like baila, 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 baila. So anyway, and that's supposed to be Uncle Frank. So here we go. Baila, baila. Hey, if somebody knows what he's saying, please DM me if you're on Instagram. Baila, baila. Yeah, I got it with the baila, baila. Hi, baila, baila. Here we go. And then we go back to it again. So now, you've heard pretty much a lot of the instrumentation of this track, and we're going to get into the vocals next. So let's break this down. We have drums, we have bass, and then we have a Wurlitzer organ. We have a fuzz guitar. We have a fairy organ. We have a sound effect called loony flutes. And we have an octave guitar going on here and there. And then another section of piano called Icy Palace Piano. And then we have another additional organ. So that is our third organ bit. And then we have a female background in there as well. Just a little bit. So let's just get into the vocal now. So let's pull off this here. And I have no idea how this is going to sound just with the bass and the vocals. And but we're gonna find out. Let's see here. Let's go back to the beginning here. Let's see. Let's mute out a lot of this stuff. All right. So let's see. All right. So we've got the bass. Yeah. Let's even do that. Let's just mute everything out except the vocal. And then we'll add in. And I can't. So when I do my vocals, I just have a simple vocal processor. It's called the TC Helicon. It's pretty industry standard. I like it. It works for me. There's maybe 200 and some presets on it. It's not very expensive. I think it was under $200. It's a very, very good unit. So, there's a lot of onboard effects with this software too, but I just love the presets on this TC Helicon, and I can't remember exactly which one it was. So if I do, I'll add it in here, and I'll add it to the description when I upload it later. So here are the vocals for Uncle Frank.
Hey, how you doing? My name is Frank. I got you some pills. How about some crank? Hey, how you doing? My name is Frank. I got you some pills. How about some crank? Hey, 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 won't you come my way? We got everything, it's out on display. Hey, 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 won't you come my way? We got everything, it's out on display. Who's to thank for all the spills we aim? Uncle Frank.
I wonder if I kept those in there. I'll get to those. I did. No, I got rid of them. I have no idea what, and I apologize if I don't understand, but I don't understand what he's saying.
Hey, how you doing? My name is Frank.
That's the second section of vocals, but let's see this bit. See these bits right here? I took those out. Again, if you don't like something, don't delete it. Just mute it, because you never know if you might ever need it again. See, I did these 2 octaves up, and I know what they were. They were little Franks, and it just seemed like I kept listening. No, I did leave that one in. It's just a little chipmunk thing with the Frank Chipmunks. Let's hear these though. Let's see. Yeah. Where's it at? Frank. Let's listen to these, and then I'll remove them. I thought they were pretty cool, but the more I listened to it, and I said, oh, these things gotta go. Here we go. Here they go. Again, I experimented and I didn't like it. At first it sounded cool. It's like Frank. But I did leave the kind of the little Alvin and Chipmunks thing. Where is that at? Oh, there it is. Oh, that is the Byler guy. And I sped him up to I put it up 14 decibels. Yeah, I brought it up. And that's him. That's him doing this. Let's see. Yep. Now, that's him. Again, silly. I just love looking back at this because, putting this all together. It was such a blast. And, music should always be a blast when you're putting it all together. It shouldn't be too much work. Don't put too much work in your music. Get your timing right. But again, the more time you spend with anything, it's like riding a bike. Once you learn it, you learn it. And the more you do it, the better you're going to get. But not only is your talent going to increase, but you're also going to learn how to put your songs together quicker and more efficiently. That's the important thing. That is the hours and hours and years talking there. Once you start getting the hours logged in, I hear so many people putting that hurdle in front of themselves. Oh, I need to pad my room. Oh, I need to get my microphone set. Oh, I don't have good enough. Hey, let's go back. Let's rewind back to the 30s and 40s. Let's go back to famous blues singers. Man, they have beat up guitars sitting on the porch, singing away. You don't need fancy equipment. What you do need is this. You need to spend a lot of time honing your craft because you're going to find yourself in your music. And don't ever hinder your stuff. If you're a rap artist and you say, I feel like writing a rock song, do it. And the same thing, vice versa. Or if you want to do some jazz for a while, just do it. Because what you're doing is you're allowing yourself to get into the unknown. And the unknown is a beautiful place to be. It really is. You got to get into that depth. And talking about that, that's something I've always wanted to talk about. And I'm not going to get too much into it. But the depth. They say psychologically that it takes you 7 minutes. Now, really, really listen to this one here. If you never heard this, I swear this is it. They say it takes about 7 minutes to disconnect. And when you disconnect, you start tapping into your manifestations. And those manifestations are the creativity that you're going to take. It's like your tool set, and you're going to start taking that and putting that in your music. Here's a perfect example. You go on a road trip, okay? You're gone 5 hours or whatever. When you're driving, do you remember really what happened after the first hour? You just kind of slip, don't you? Can you remember all that? No, because you're disconnecting. I mean, you're obviously driving, and you're not going to crash anything, but I'm saying you disconnect. Jimmy Page from Zeppelin used to talk about that. And I got the chance to meet him and Plant in Michigan at this crazy-looking studio. It wouldn't even knew it was a studio. But anyway, my friend gave me a tip-off that they were going to be there. This was in 1997 or 8 or something like that, because they just were beginning to introduce digital recording. And this guy had the V system. So anyway, they came in to do some overdubbing. Detroit, it's a great place to hang out. But anyway, I forgot to ask him that because he was always talking about this depth, okay? Depth and distance in the music. And Page, he would sit there, during these practice sessions and just lose himself. And that's when he was tapping in probably some of the best guitar work that Zeppelin ever put out. Because again, he knew he intentionally was trying to get to that place. You see what I mean? He was trying to get to that place. So it's kind of food for thought. Try to get to that place. Not everybody has the luxury of solitude. You know, you might have a big family that might be creeping around all the time. Get used to it. It's okay. Don't say, I can't create anything in this house because there's too much dilemma, there's too much drama, there's too much. Don't inhibit yourself. Do it. I mean, I was reading an article the other day. I mean, she's not a musician, but she's J.K. Rowling. She would write in a coffee house with her Harry Potter books while she was in the coffee house. I sit there and I think, how the heck can you manifest your thoughts? How can you even culminate your thoughts when you're around that many people? She did it. So, you know, yes, that 7-minute disconnect, that's a great place to be. If you have that 7 minutes, literally, if you had a stopwatch and you get to that 7 minutes, I'm telling you, you're going to start disconnecting. And that's when you're going to start tapping into all those little good manifestations that you had. So it could be the person that years ago that broke up with you, cheated on you or something. You could have something angry inside that you just want to get out. You know, again, all these little culminations make into a great song. But again, try to tap into that. So, you know, I suggest, and it's been suggested to me, you know, I think I mentioned on Instagram. Yeah, I did mention on Instagram before that that my uncle, he was starting a magazine business, and this was a long time ago, and he's trying to get it lifted off. So this allowed me to go with him and interview a lot of famous people. And some of the things that I was hearing was, because I always say, how, you know, where's your inspiration? How do you get it? And a lot of the musicians would always say, they would, what's the word I'm looking for? Oh my gosh, meditation. So, you know, meditate, see where your mind's going, get into those thoughts, you know, get into that disconnect, you know, that's where you're going to really tap into it and really get into it. And when you got it, when you got whatever you're manifesting, just clutch onto that and go with it. You know, a lot of the best stuff that I think I've ever written has came from being around water, taking a bath, taking a shower, those thoughts. And here's the reason why. Let's talk about water. Because water was our first home. When you were in your mother's womb, you were in water. That's why we gravitate to water. That's why it's so soothing, relaxing, water. So I'm telling you, water's a great place to just kind of peace out and get your mind in order. And sometimes, and driving in a car, you know, Bob Seger said, he said, my best ideas came when I was driving in the car. And because when your body is moving, you're in the car and it's still moving. When you're moving, your mind tends to speed up a little bit when it comes to those things. That's why you sit there and you try to work out a problem in your chair, take a walk and then try working out the problem. You're going to work out that problem a lot easier when you're moving. So moving. So yeah, you like that? Yeah, like Uncle Frank. Silly. So I know that YouTube is going to give me, and I love YouTube, by the way, don't get me wrong, but I still have to poke fun because when I go to upload this live stream, it's going to come up copyright. So then I'm going to end up having to contact my distributor, release the copyright claim because it's my stuff. And I know that you're trying to protect all the copyright holders out there, but still, let's get something down. So, you know, talking about that, it was suggested to me that you know, if you have those kind of frustrations, you can whitelist your channel, which means that only the stuff, like new stuff you create, you're not going to be getting all these copyright things. But anyway, you might be missing out on monetization too. So, I think we pretty much have the whole track wrapped up here. Again, I just bear with me. I just got to hear this bit again. So this bit again, if you're just tuning in, this is where it got a little crazy. I added I call it the gnome organ, a 60s organ, funk guitar, the drum, the bass bits, and a fairy organ, the Byler guy, the octave guitar, the icy piano, and another organ. All of these all together, and we're going to do each one step by step one more time. I just want to hear this, because what we didn't do was we didn't take these step by step, and this will take a quick second. So again, because what's nice is when you're going down your track list too, you're like, okay, this is what I added next, this is what I added next, this is what I added next, and it's kind of like, why did I add that next? Why did I do that? So let's go to the drum bit right here. So when we get into that crazy bit, it's the Roland set. Here we go. Oh, we still have an instrument floating in there. Okay, yeah, let's get rid of that. So, okay, so let's go through the drums. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Again, pretty basic. Now I'm going to add in my bass. Where are we at? There we go. Now again, when I'm looking, when I roll these back and I'm looking at my bass drum bits, I'm trying to line these things up. And if they don't line up, and if they don't line up and I'm feeling a little lazy, I'll just take and just cut a section and just bring it on over, because I know that it works. It sounds good. So rather than, plug the bass guitar back in and do it. So, okay. But we don't have any of that with that track. I guess I did pretty good there. Because I am far from a session musician, that's for sure. All right, so here we go. Bass and drums. And we're going to add in that organ. Here we go. Basically, I was two-fingering this bit. Okay. Now we're going to add in the Gnome organ. So this was all put together on the Juno DS. That's the synthesizer that I use, and it's called Gnome organ. So here's the. Let me take that out so you can just hear the Gnome organ with it. I just love this bit. It's just so weird, Now let's add in the 60s organ. Now let's add in the funk guitar. But we're going to signal that out. Now, you see there's plus 12s. I've raised the whole thing an octave. It's the original track, which is this, and I copied it over and I raised it just to give it some weirdness, Instead of it, so see, hear it? Da, 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 da. Now, listen to it with the 12. Because I wanted it to be silly and swanky. And then I doubled it here. Here's a fuzz guitar. These are fill-ins. Fill in. I'm gonna fill it in with the fuzz guitar. And then we have the Gnome organ. Let's all bring it all in. And here we go. It's like a child in a candy store. I just get so crazy, it's silly happy about this. It's like, oh my gosh. And then let's add the fairy organ. There's a lot going on in this track. I can't even hit that high note. That fairy organ's like, and then the Byler guy, Byler. And then the icy piano and the other Hammond organ. And of course, we got the little female singer bit. We're here. Now, let's put it all together. Got the backing vocal. Let's put it all together here. I think we have all the tracks opened up now. And got the octave guitar, got the Byler guy. And let's put it all together. The Looney Flutes. The Looney Flutes weren't in there. Looney Flutes are these little crazy, you know, just to kind of give it this little wild sweeping bit on the intro. And here we go. I think that's it. I think we got everything open. And yeah. Okay, so here we go. Here it is. It's the finalized version.
Hey, how you doing? My name is Frank. I got you some pills. How about some crank? Hey, how you doing? My name is Frank. I got you some pills. How about some crank? Hey, 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 won't you come my way? We got everything. It's out on display. Hey, 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 won't you come my way? We got everything. It's out on display. Who's to thank for all this we ate? We got a loan from Uncle Frank.
I love this one.
Hey, how you doing? My name is Frank. I got you some pills. How about some crank? Hey, how you doing? My name is Frank. I got you some pills. How about some crank? Hey, 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 won't you come my way? We got
I wonder what that would sound like if we took this and raised the BPM,
Won't you come my way? We got everything.
just out of curiosity. Let's do a 5.
Hey, how you doing? My name is
Let's get
Frank.
crazy with it.
I got you some pills. How
Not really. Now, let's try this.
Hey, how you doing? My name is Frank. I got you some pills. How about some crank? Hey, how you doing?
Now,
My
let's
name
take
is
this up
Frank.
and let's
I
raise.
got you some pills. How about some crank? Hey, 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 won't you come my way? We Hey, how Hey, how you doing? My name is Frank. I got you some pills. How about some
No,
crank?
that doesn't sound right.
Hey, how
Let's
you
just bring
doing?
it down
My name is
one.
Frank. I got you some pills. How about some crank? Hey, 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 won't you come my way?
No.
We got everything. It's out.
See, again,
Hey,
you're
hey,
exhausting
hey,
all these
won't you
little.
come my way?
We could make it into a minor key. Try that, and then we couldn't do that because we don't want it to sound depressing.
We got a loan from Uncle Frank.
Hey, everybody! I want to thank you for joining me today. I'm just having a blast showing everybody this. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, if you're just joining now, yeah, we're done. But every time I do a live stream, about 3 days later, I release it. And basically what I've been doing is taking you step by step, instrument by instrument, and showing you how I put together Uncle Frank. And what an absolute blast it's been to do this song.
Hey, how you doing? My name is Frank.
Now, next, when we do our next session here,
Hey, how you doing?
we are
My
going to
name is
do,
Frank. I got you
let's
some
go ahead and take a look.
How about some crank?
What we're doing essentially is going through the entire debut album, from the first song all the way through, and then we're going to get to Kick It 2, Kick It 3, and Kick It Quattro. I'm getting ready to release that. What I always try to do is stay about 2 albums ahead. So there's actually 6 albums that are written, recorded right now. I just haven't gotten around to releasing them yet. So let's get back to Kick It 1 again. So what's going to be our next track next time? Funny Money. We're going to be doing Funny Money next. And I have an interesting story about Funny Money, how Kick It's gotten himself beat up over that one too. I'll have to tell you the story when we do the next live stream. I'm so grateful that everybody stopped in to listen to today's live stream about how I created Uncle Frank. I'm so thankful to all the new subscribers. I'm so thankful to everybody I know that's taken a genuine interest in my music. As you can see, I get a little wild sometimes when I'm putting together instruments. So, and again, all I'm doing is just finding what works best for the next track. And yeah, sometimes I'll sit there for 10, 15 minutes and say, that's not working. When it gets to that point, you just save your work and just go off, do something else, and then just come back to it. Or maybe work on something else. Get your mind on something else. Because again, when it starts becoming a drudgery, just leave it be for a little bit. You know, like I said, I've said it before. I don't believe that artists have to suffer to do their best work. I really don't. You know, just get a little more inclined, a little more smarter with your work, and that comes with time. You know, making the same mistakes repeatedly, saying, "Oh, I see where this is going. I got to stop it now. I'm not going to do that one anymore." You know, get myself in that hole. You know, one of the ones that I've always struggled with is like, okay, you got your drum beat down, but you screwed up just in a little spot, right? And you say, "Oh no, I'll just drowned it out with other instruments." And guess what happens? You built your entire house over this foundation that's cracking. You just delete it then and just redo it or piece it in. Again, my favorite is find a piece that works. Like it's, you know, if it's like, if it's the first verse or the first measure and that works, bring it in, copy, paste it, fit it in. So again, you did it right. Why not just copy and paste it and put it in the next spot of the song? So where you need it, it's your stuff. You know what I mean? So I could go on and for hours and hours and just blabber about this music. I just love doing it so much. And I'm just so appreciative that you stopped in today. And I wish everybody a great weekend. I'll be back on Sunday. Tomorrow's Saturday. So on my other channel, Think, Dream, Do. If you haven't subscribed to that, or if you want to check it out, just type in Think, Dream, Do on YouTube. I'll be there. And I do just motivational, a lot of motivational material. I just did one on the other day, how to deal with a mean family. And yeah, it sounds a little funny, but it's actually, you know, it's serious. You know, there's a lot of toxic people, toxic families out there. And, you know, these are little tips and tricks anyways, how to deal with that. So, you know, you get your mind in a good place, you're going to make better music. So I've always strived to try to get my mind in a better place. And, you know, I'm not like a millionaire. I don't have the luxury of going to, you know, these shrinks or whatever people call it. They call them, you know, they're, of course, they're psychologists, but everybody still uses the term, you know, or so get your mind in a right place and your music will flourish, you know, because people are going to feel what you are writing. They will feel what you're writing. And it's okay to feel sad too. If you're going to write about sad stuff, that's great too. You know, if people are feeling it, but it's the genuineness of it, you know? But you know, when you start getting into where you just need to get your mind in the right place, you know? And again, it's a subjective topic. You might not need to, you might, you know, need to take crazy things to make your creativity flourish, you know? That's okay too. So, but this is my way, you know, getting my head straight. I can make better music. So anyway, thank you so much for joining me. Have a great weekend, and I will see you, if you decide to, on Sunday. Okay? Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you guys soon.